Well, do me a favor, will you, honey? Let's move it, huh? I mean, I gotta earn a living. Leave me now. Please. Please, just go. Just please go. Please go. No! No, get away! Get away from me, please! No! No! No!
Hey guys, tonight we're coming to you from Camp Blackfoot, and we're going to break down that 1981 classic, The Burning. So let's get at it.
Yo, we rolling deep, let's dive into the fray. Hit that play button, we review every bite. From horror flicks that give you chills at night to games that thrill, yeah, we get it right. Remember that, step back, hold tight. We'll dissect every scare, keep the vibe right. Remember that, we're here to expose the thrills, the chills where the dark wind blows. From pixels on screens to the sound that glows. Join us forever, that's how the story goes.
Tonight we're going to do the 1981 slasher movie, The Burning. Now, The Burning is a Canadian-American slasher film that was directed by Tony Maylam. The plot follows a summer camp caretaker who is horribly burnt from a prank gone wrong, where he seeks vengeance at a nearby summer camp years later. So, guys, what's your first impression of this complete Friday the 13th ripoff that we've got here? Just give me your first takes on it.
I got to hear yours, Daniel.
My first take was, this is a Friday the 13th ripoff. And then when I explained the overly simplified plot to a coworker of mine today, he said that it sounded like a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff. And so I started thinking about it, and I was thinking, okay, so he's talking about dude gets burned up. Freddy Krueger got burned up. Okay, I see it.
Okay, yeah, it might be a mix. Okay.
Right. But this predates Nightmare, because Nightmare come out in 84, this come out in 81, so this actually predates Nightmare.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well,
but this was a very, very low budget movie, and it was a very slow paced movie.
This was a slow burn.
Yeah, The Burning was a very slow burn.
Yeah.
Cade, what'd you think about it?
Yeah, so this is the first time I've ever seen this movie before, and I love the Friday the 13th franchise, and I was kind of talking to the fellas about this before we started. I think I've just come to understand I love, like, 80s slasher movies, and,
Yes,
like,
sir.
the setting of, like, a camp is, like, nostalgic for me, like, seeing, like, the kids enjoying the camp activities. It's just, like, a nice nostalgic feeling, so even, like, the slow parts of this movie, like, I did not hate as much as maybe the other guys here. I enjoyed it very much, but I thought the movie started out with, like, one of the most absurd, like, things ever, because essentially you've got a group of kids and they are wanting to prank. I'm guessing this guy is a counselor. His name's Crosby or Crosby.
He was
And they want to scare this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a caretaker. They want to scare him. So somehow these kids, they come across this skull, and they actually take these candles, they store them inside the skull, and they take the skull and they sit it beside this dude. And this dude is straight up sleeping, like he's out. Like he's definitely got some kind of sleep apnea, though. You could hear him choking, like he needs some help. Like he's hurting.
Bro needs a CPAP.
Dude, get him some help. And then these kids, their plan is to put the skull there, go outside around to his window, tap on the window, get him to wake up, and then get scared by the skull. Well, he wakes up, and for some reason, he decides to take his hand and swipe at the skull and knock it onto his bed sheets. And apparently that immediately causes him and his bed to burst into flames. And then for some reason he has a gas can beside his bed and that explodes. And then this dude starts flying down the hill. And what I love so much about this scene is you could look at the guy. Like, I think they legitimately had someone like on fire because you could see someone in a suit, like his face had like a mask on. And then he goes and rolls into the water. And then the scene kind of ends from there and it jumps 5 years into the future. So like I thought the beginning was like really goofy and sets the tone for how the movie's gonna be, but I thought it was entertaining at least.
Well, it was definitely entertaining, man. I thought it was great, but they were like, somehow this guy's got to catch on fire, and just like, okay, let's have him sleeping next to a gas can.
I don't know, dude. Like, who does that?
Nobody does that. That's the problem.
The gas can in the guy's, but right beside the guy's bed. I was just like, why? But first off, where did these people get this skull? Was there Spirit Halloween next to this camp?
Yeah, back in
because
1981.
they bring in this skull that looks like Jason's mom's head. Okay, and they catch it on fire, and then they go outside, and they're like beating on the window, like grunting at him. They're like,
dude, the noises they were making was absurd.
And I'm sitting there
these guys are some little jerks, man. The guy was trying to sleep.
But apparently, I can't remember if they mentioned this at the beginning before the prank, or if it comes out later on in the story in the movie. But apparently, this Crosby guy, or if I'm saying that right, apparently Crosby, yeah. Crispy is what I call him.
Yeah,
yeah.
Apparently, this guy's like a jerk and plays pranks on these kids like all summer, and so they're supposed to get back at him. And so I guess this prank just went too far. And, at first I thought the guy died and it was supposed to be dude's ghost until the next scene. And it jumped forward 5 years and this guy's been in the burn unit. I want to know what kind of insurance this guy's carrying to stay in a burn unit at this hospital in 1981 for 5 whole years.
For 5 years, dude.
That's definitely better than mine. I'll tell you that much.
I want to know. I want this guy's
scene
insurance
was so
plan.
funny, dude. Because you had I think maybe this guy was a nurse, but you had a doctor who was, I guess it was his first day there, and he was just like ready to go, I guess, work in whatever area he was assigned to. And this guy's like, no, you need to see this guy. This is what you're gonna see all the time. You're not gonna make it in 5 minutes in here. And it just reminded me of like, I can remember like some of the other jobs I had when I was like in high school. And like I remember I worked at like Applebee's one time, and like I got told like a similar thing like from one of the cooks that had worked there for like 10 years. He was like, "You won't make it a week in here." I was like, "Shut up, dude! Come on, man."
God, man, what kind of
dude that was telling his brand new coworker all this stuff? That looked just like the dude from Friday the 13th Part 3. I don't think that it was, but that's exactly who I thought of.
Are you talking about? Oh, dude.
The guy that I don't think it's the same person, but that is immediately the dude that I thought of. And I was like, man, this guy's ready to go fight Jason.
Well, you know what I thought was funny is as soon as he's released from the hospital, some prostitute just invites him back to either his room or her room one. I don't know which one it was, but like, they're in there and she's trying to like seduce him and stuff, and he just like stabs her in the stomach and just ends her right there. Which I will say that was a gruesome kill. Tom Savini done very well on that, but I'm like, how did we go from the hospital to here?
He took the blades and like started twisting them, and I was like, ooh, like that.
Yeah,
I was like that. I haven't seen that in a movie from this area yet, so I was like, that's kind of impressive at least.
Yeah, I think that was his weapon of choice, is anything that's like a scissors or clippers or anything.
Well, he liked
like
the
that.
pruning shears, those big like.
Yeah, I thought it was like
that was going to be his gimmick, which it's a pretty cool thing. I mean, I don't know where this movie went wrong because it had some good elements to turn into a classic slasher franchise, but it just didn't take off. And here's what I blame it on: he didn't have a good enough mask. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, he didn't have a mask though, right? That was supposed to be his. That was supposed to be his face.
Well, his look, I guess we'll call it a look. That's what killed him was his look.
Yeah, at first he had like a top hat and some goggles and like a mask,
He
like a
had
hockey
goggles. I
mask.
don't remember
Like
that.
yeah,
Well,
it was at the very beginning. It was like either big glasses or goggles, but you couldn't see his face whenever he had the prostitute. He was completely like covered, and then he
Yeah,
showed her.
yeah.
yeah.
I think after that he was all face from there.
But the camera being blurry, I think that was because he was supposed to have so much damage from being burned that it messed with his vision. I think that's
Right.
where the camera.
Oh, you think so?
Because when it goes to the POV shots, everything's all blurry, and I think that's what they were supposed to be doing. Was it was supposed to be like damaged vision from the fire.
I
Well,
can see that.
I'm kind of curious because you guys are like these slasher experts. If I was going to go to anybody with like slasher questions, I would ask y'all. But where do you think that this movie kind of like went wrong? Because you know, if it was following like Friday the 13th, it had the blueprint. But you think that it just dragged on too long, like in between kills? Because like I felt like there was a long time before he killed again.
I've
and
got like
the plot was kind of moving slow.
so I've got a couple of answers to that, and
let's
I'm
hear
sure
it.
that Corky will probably have his own answers too. Could be the same, but the number one problem with this movie was the pacing. So the movie, it was a very, of course, I mean the acting didn't help, but it was a very slow paced movie, and the kills were very few and far between. And they weren't spread out like they needed to be. Like we were almost a whole hour into the movie before the first person got killed, and then like
right,
and then
the
like
group.
when
Except
he
for that
kills,
prostitute there at the first.
except for the prostitute when he's actually at the camp. So he's at the camp, and motive is not really explained. So yeah, you kind of insinuate that he's back for vengeance, but vengeance on who? Were these people that was at the camp, were they the counselors? Were they the kids? Was it a mixture? I couldn't tell. I really couldn't tell if he was after the head counselor or not, if he was solely trying just to get to him and he was just killing people along the way. The motive wasn't explained. The pacing was really slow. And then when he did kill, the first bunch of people, he killed like 5 on a raft or 5 or 6 people on a raft. Like, spread that stuff out.
Dude,
we just spent 45 minutes with no kills, and now you've killed 5 people. Like,
man,
spread that out.
If he was playing Call of Duty, he would have had a kill streak, man. He was taking them out.
Well, let's just put it like this: the first of the movie, 30 minutes of it was that shower scene at the first. That was forever and a day.
Right.
That was the only time Olivia started paying attention to what I was watching.
Oh, yeah, every time.
Of course.
That's always when the wives look at the screen. She's like, "What are you watching?" Good Lord, you haven't looked up in 30 minutes, and you look up now.
God, and the exact same thing happened to me on New Year's Eve. I won't tell you the story while we're recording, because it don't have anything to do with the movie, but it's funny.
That's hilarious.
But I guess the other thing, I explained motive and I explained the slow pacing. Really, those two things right there were what killed it for me. And your kills were all at the end of the movie. You're towards the end of the movie. You need to spread that stuff out more. I understand trying to create suspense and build up, but the acting in this movie and the direction and the pacing wasn't good enough for the build up of the time that it was taken to get there. So you needed to add some more kills, in there. And how moronic is the head guy that owned the camp? He's in there making the big speech in the mess hall, and everybody's making fun of him. He don't get no respect from nobody. The only people that listen to anybody is the head guy, the head counselor. He's the only person that's got any kind of respect going. It was just kind of goofy.
I got you.
Yeah, this movie to me felt like it was just thrown together and trying to build off a formula that Friday the 13th had started.
Yes,
but that moves us kind of towards the middle of the movie, and I've got a little something written out here. As the campers settle in, the film shifts gears into full slasher mode. Finally, strange things start happening, people go missing, tensions rise, and the sense of isolation becomes overwhelming. Now, this is where The Burning really earns its reputation, delivering some of the most brutal and memorable kills of the era, and I can second that, including the infamous Raft Massacre that Daniel's already mentioned. It still gets talked about decades later. The movie doesn't rely much on mystery. Instead, it leans into inevitability. Cropsy is out there, and every decision the characters make feels like it's pulling them closer to him. The middle act is a relentless, grim, and unapologetic, mean-spirited, capturing that raw, gritty feel that separates from the more polished slashers. Now, obviously, that was, written by people that was probably it was their job to write something about this movie. I didn't write that, but they given the movie a little more credit than I would give it because, well, I will say this: what saves this movie for me is the special effects from Tom Savini.
Yeah.
Like I said, when he stabs that prostitute at the first of the movie, that's one of the most brutal stab scenes I've ever seen. Which I expect nothing less from Tom Savini, but what stood out to me and is one of the reasons why I recommended us do this movie. It was the special effects, man, because Tom Savini turned down doing Friday the 13th Part 2 to do this movie, which he may look back and say, man, that was a mistake now, but that's what he done back in 1981. So what'd you guys think about the middle part of the movie? And what about the kill scenes? Does that do it for you guys like it does it for me?
Oh yeah, yeah, I think so. For me, like the first kill that we see after the prostitute dies at the beginning of the movie is, I believe Daniel told me today she like won Miss Ohio in some modeling thing or beauty contest or beauty pageant, and
Yeah,
I
Miss
thought her,
USA.
yeah, Miss USA, she's a pretty big deal. So she dies, I believe, by getting her throat sliced open, and the blood scene from her dying there was pretty gruesome. And of course, this next kill, I wouldn't call it like a singular kill, like a kill tacular from Halo when he murders everybody on the boat. It was funny to see the camera cutting. I would go back and kind of pause it to try to see some of those kills, and honestly, like it was really, really good, like, the way that the special effects looked, but my favorite scene was when the kid had his fingers cut off, and you could see him literally sitting there, like, just, like, staring at his hand, and he had, like, a perfectly, sharp angle of his fingers just gone. I thought that was hilarious. But I was hoping that I was honestly hoping that the Glazer character was gonna get taken out earlier in the movie because he was such a jerk.
Oh, Glazer.
I was waiting
Laser.
on him to get taken out. He was such a jerk, man.
Yeah, he played
Well,
the jerk character very well.
I
yeah, he
think
did.
so.
So you've got in the middle of the movie, you've got some really good kill scenes. You've got some really good throat slashing scenes with the clippers, because the clippers is kind of what this guy's main weapon is here. And he cut cut a big gash in the one girl's head, stabbed another
Yeah.
girl. He stabbed several people in the throat, slashed several people. Like it was just really good special effects. And I'm huge on special effects. So when we rate this, the special effects is what gets all the points basically from
Exactly.
for me. But anything like it with this with as low budget as what this movie was, there was no money put into this movie, and for the kills to still come out that good, that is just a testament of how good Tom Savini's work is. And that's why I like anything Tom Savini does.
Well, he's the master of taking, ketchup and low budget and making magic with it, man. That's
Yeah.
he's just, to this day, he's the practical effects master, man.
He is. He
And
is.
he gives a class. I forget what state it's in. It's up north somewhere, but you can actually go to his special effects school, and I would love to be
Oh,
able to
that's
do that,
sick.
man.
Dude, I would
Yeah.
I would just go watch it. I would
Yeah, I
just
bel-
yeah.
Yeah, but that you can go up there. I forget what state it's in. Yeah, but you can go up there and actually go to class and learn how to do some of the stuff he done. But he would take just normal everyday objects and just what he had laying around, and he'd just create the best special effects with them. And that's
Well,
Tom Savini is the master.
I'll say this about the kill scene with the prostitute. Um, the one thing, and it could have just been from the way that I was looking. I don't know. But whenever he was twisting the scissors in the prostitute's chest or stomach or wherever he had her stabbed at, when he pulled them out, it looked like half of the scissors were like not even there. So it looked like the prop like got
really
pulled out.
Maybe it was.
So and I don't know if I actually caught that or if I just think that I caught that. But
it's very possible you actually caught that.
Yeah,
but
I've
that's
got some box office and budget numbers for you guys if y'all are interested in hearing.
Oh,
we totally skipped over that. Go for it, buddy.
Bring it on.
Yeah, so it says that the film's estimated budget was about $1.5 million, but it only grossed about 700,000 domestically, and it really did not. It really didn't do anything internationally. That it might have done okay in Japan, but I don't think it really did enough to where they even broke even. So that's probably why this thing got axed. And also the title, I don't know, maybe the title's not bad, but you don't really know.
It don't work. Do this for me, Cade. Compare the numbers to this movie to Friday the 13th Part 1, or should we do Friday the 13th Part 2?
Maybe Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah, I would like to see which one done. Obviously, Friday the 13th Part 2 done better, but I'm just trying to figure out how much of a mistake Tom Savini made.
You said for Friday the 13th Part 2?
Well, Tom Savini still made his money, and he was still doing movies after this, even though the actors weren't. So Tom Savini's going, I don't care.
Well, he went back in Friday the 13th Part 4, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
and
man.
3.
Yeah.
What did it do?
So the budget for Friday the 13th Part 2, bear in mind this is the same year. I don't know what month these movies came out in, but Part 2 for Friday the 13th was in 81 as well. It had a budget of 1.25 million, but had a domestic or worldwide box office of 21.7 million. So it
Let's go.
Dude,
it done a little
turned
better.
up. It turned up, and I'm really curious if it was after the weekends after, because the first movie, obviously Pamela Voorhees is the main bad guy in that movie. So I'm curious if people kind of said, "Oh yeah, Jason's actually a real thing. Go look at him," and people went and saw it. But that's insane. It was cheaper and made so much more. That opens your eyes.
It was also, it's almost like not comparing apples to apples, because The Burning was just a straight ripoff, and Friday the 13th Part 2. Friday the 13th Part 2 was actually on the coattails of a very successful Friday the 13th. And so since Friday the 13th Part 1 was already successful, they already had a fan base that was going to go see this. The Burning, nobody know what it was. I mean, honestly, until Corky told me about it, I had never even heard of this movie. And I've seen a lot of movies.
You mean to blow your mind? Again,
blow my mind,
please.
So Friday the 13th, just the very first one, had a budget of around 550,000, and just domestic in the U.S. it made 39.7 million, and then worldwide it grossed 59.7. So an insane jump for them, 108 times its production budget.
That is why Kevin Bacon has a career.
Well, here's my question to you guys, and you can give me your honest opinion. With a film like Friday the 13th Part 1 that had that much success that you just told me about, why do you think Tom Savini made the choice to do this movie rather than come back and do Friday the 13th Part 2? What do you think? What made him make that decision?
I mean, he may have gotten paid more on this. He may have had a bigger percentage, may have had a better contract with it. Could have been a creative thing. Like he's sitting there and he goes, I've done Friday the 13th. Okay, let's go do something different. Because when you are in art like that, a lot of artists that I know, that I've talked to, that does different kind of things, they are really particular about the projects that they take on, and they're like, well, I don't want to do the same thing all the time. And I understand that a throat being slit on camera is kind of the same thing, but there's different ways to go about it. There's different ways to shoot it. You have more creative control in certain situations. And so I think that Tom Savini probably just didn't want to do a carbon copy of Friday the 13th. He wanted to go try something different. And
That's exactly what it says online.
Or did you look it up? What's it say online?
Yeah, so according to this, it says he thought that part 2 was going to feel like more of the same movie, which is kind of surprising because The Burning is so similar.
That's what I was going to say. So he just...
Yeah, and that he was offered more creative freedom on this film because, I mean, he obviously went kind of crazy with these kills. Like, the raft scene is so intense, and you can definitely tell where he's like, we're doing this. He had no say anything else. And then maybe time commitments, too, was really close. The productions were really close, and he had already committed to that one. But he definitely, I wish he would have done part 2, even though part 2 was a great movie. That would have been cool to see his special effects.
Whoever done the special effects for part 2, they done a fine job.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys think that the counselors here were cool, or do you think they were kind of like forgettable?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know if they were counselors or if they were kids. There was so many differences between all those people.
Let me give you guys a little thought I've gotten. You tell me if this struck you the same way. I'm like Daniel. I had never heard of this movie up until a few years ago. This movie is known to me as the movie Tom Savini turned down Friday the 13th Part 2 to do. So one night I found it on Tubi and I started watching. I was like, man, this kind of giving me Friday the 13th vibes here. I like this movie because you guys know that's my slasher franchise there or whatever. So, but I watched this movie later in life. I didn't watch this movie during my childhood and stuff like I have all these other movies that we talk about. So when I see, what's his name? George Costanza?
From
Seinfeld.
When I see him in this movie, I see George Costanza. I don't see some kid trying to be cool, And in this movie, he plays a
ladies' man in this.
Yeah, he's a ladies' man, and he's all that. I'm like, I just don't see him that way. And honestly, that was a problem for me because I can't see him as a ladies' man. I just can't. He's always George Costanza to me, man. Did you guys feel that way?
I did. And actually, I took it a step further, and I kept getting these images in my head of George Costanza going back to Jerry Seinfeld's apartment and telling him about The Burning. And Jerry Seinfeld being, well, why did you go to the summer camp?
What do you mean you're at the summer camp?
What do you mean you're at the summer camp? The guy with the burnt face. And then Kramer
He's chasing you with what? Big scissors. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I kept thinking that every single time that George Costanza was in a scene, I was like, what are you doing?
And then I would look at his hair and I'd be like, he's bald under that hair. It's got to be a wig.
That is what, that's what my wife said. My wife was like, man, he did not age well. She was like, look at his hair. She says that you can tell it's George Costanza, but to look at him in Seinfeld, she said he did not age well at all.
No, he didn't age well at all. And then you have the main counselor, the little blonde-headed girl. She is the reporter from Bloodsport. That's how I see her. I mean, she's over there talking about, whatever she's talking about during this movie. I'm like, you need to be covering the Kumite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you need to get back to work.
Yeah, all she has to do is make one call to Van Damme, and he's going to come take care of The Burning.
Yeah. Cade, did I just hear the words you haven't seen Bloodsport come out of your mouth?
Dude, I have never seen
We're
Bloodsport.
going to do that movie.
I know after seeing what I'm seeing now, I've seen clips from it, but I actually never watched the movie before.
So I vow, if you want a New Year's resolution, I vow on this show this year, we will cover Bloodsport and Big Trouble in Little China. We will cover these two movies.
I'm so glad we added the special episode to our little rundown. That way we can do movies like this because, listen, you're watching freaking Bloodsport, and Daniel, I want to watch Big Trouble in Little China. I still haven't seen it. So
those two movies, with as corny as what they are, they're some of my favorite movies.
Oh, listen, Bloodsport defined my childhood half the time.
You cannot go wrong with Bloodsport.
Is this a similar premise to Rocky, but in MMA?
No.
No.
No, sir. No.
It's its own
Shut
unique
your
thing.
fool mouth right now. This is
You
Frank
gonna
Dukes,
get this
baby.
guy?
That's
Frank
what this
Dukes,
is.
man. He
So-
developed Duke's car.
Yeah.
So when I look at
on.
this guy from Bloodsport, what I think about the most, Jean-Claude Van Damme, is him doing that commercial where he does a split between those two like semis. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. He does
That's
that
what
in
I
every
know him from.
movie, you know.
Yeah, he does a split in every movie.
Okay, so it's
And in
something
this
iconic
one, he
about it.
does the same thing. And every
Yeah,
time
yeah.
that he does the big helicopter spin kick and he's going,
Yeah, baby. Yeah. That's what I'm talking
it's-
about.
you know, he hits this guy with his hand like that. He's like, bang! Yeah, it's awesome. You got to watch it.
Shoot, dude, I hope we review
I
it. We
used to
got
act
to
like
put
that
it
in
on our
school
schedule.
all the
I
time.
would love to watch that.
Well, it's officially happening.
It's happening.
Yeah. I can't believe you've
Bloodsport,
not
Big
seen
Trouble in Little
Bloodsport.
China. I guarantee
Yeah.
you, to you guys, to Brent and Bryson, who's not with us tonight, and to all the listeners, we will cover both of those movies.
Yes.
So you
You
just gear up.
you have our
Dude.
word. It's happening.
Shoot,
That's
yeah.
sick.
But Jean-Claude Van Damme aside,
Yes.
I think we're about halfway through the movie. So, Daniel, why don't you go ahead and hit us with whatever trivia you've got. I know you said you had problems trying to find some
well,
trivia tonight.
So
And we'll probably
was-
have problems answering them, so you might as well
Well,
just
I
throw them
don't
this
know it.
way.
my problem with finding trivia questions was that nothing was happening. It's like, what happened to chick? She got stabbed with the scissors. Okay. What happened to other chick? She got stabbed in the throat with scissors.
Listen, there's one I was watching, and I seen this one. If you don't ask this question, I'm going to ask it at the end of this, because when I seen this scene, I was like, oh, there is a epic trivia question right there. It's right up Daniel's alley. So I'm going to shut up, and maybe you'll ask it, and I'll know it. But if you don't ask it, then I'm going to see if you know it.
Okay, maybe so. I don't know. I did have trouble finding questions because I was watching the movie. So it makes it harder to come up with trivia questions when you haven't seen the movie before. And so
Yeah.
you're watching it to watch it. And then by the time you're trying to think of trivia questions, you're like, well, what happened? Let me go back and rewatch it scene because I was
That
too
will be
busy trying to
difficult.
find a trivia. But anyway, question number 1 is an easy one. What did Crosby use to kill the prostitute with?
Corky.
Hey,
I heard Corky first.
Now, I may be wrong, but I think it was a knife.
You are wrong, sir.
Dios razón.
Cade?
he used the shears. They almost look like garden shears.
No, he did not.
He
Really?
used the scissors. He picked the scissors.
Yeah,
up
So
off
scissors.
he obviously stabbed her with them closed, though, because
Yeah.
they were not open.
because
Yeah,
that's
that's
his.
why I
And
got
then
that's
he
his
started
weapon.
twisting them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
it
That's
was
his.
really.
That
it
is
was
his
really
murder
gruesome.
weapon of choice.
So
is
did he just
anything
have
with
those laying beside him, or was they doing some gardening? I mean, what? How did he get his hands on
It was a
shears?
pair of scissors that he just picked up off that chick's nightstand, I guess.
Okay. So it was some scissors. It wasn't the big ones he was using at the camp.
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
Question
points,
2. Question 2. What was the main murder weapon at the camp?
Corky,
Hey,
Corky.
the pruning shears, whatever they are.
The big shears. As soon as you were breaking that down, I was like, that's question number 2, man.
question ruined.
All right. So, Cade, you may have to look this up to double check me, but I'm going to ask
Okay.
this question anyway. How many people were killed on the raft?
Oh my, Corky.
Corky?
I have a
I
number.
want to say 7.
Corky says 7. Cade, what you got?
5 people.
Okay, so
We're
I
guessing.
counted 6, but
Ah.
you may need to look that back up because it might have
got you.
been just 5. I know that. I don't think
Could
it
have been
was
7. No, you're wrong.
Maybe so, but I don't think so.
I was totally
Let me
guessing
see.
quick.
5 people are killed during the
I just
raft
remember saying-
massacre.
5
Really?
people.
5
so the
people,
trivia
okay.
master is wrong tonight. The answer is 5. And you can thank Google for that.
Google, you suck.
Here we go. Question number 4. This is a me question. Okay.
Oh,
so here we go.
God.
What color was the canoe that Crosby jumped out of?
God, right.
Cade,
Corky,
Okay, I heard Corky first.
blue.
No, it's not blue.
Whatever.
Cade?
Red.
No, it is not red. The canoe was green. He jumped out of a green canoe.
Oh my God.
And
dude,
see, I thought that it was gonna be like Friday the 13th Part 4. So they're gonna roll up on this canoe, and then they're gonna find them dead bodies in there, right? No, man, bro jumped out and slaughtered them all. That was great. Okay, question number 5. Here we go. What was the killer's name?
Cade.
Corky.
Cade. I heard Cade first.
Lies.
Cropsy.
Cropsy is correct. Cropsy. Cropsy.
Cropsy.
Cropsy. I called him Crispy.
Crispy, yeah.
So,
that should have been.
Crispy. Crispix, like the cereal. Okay, number 6. How long was Cropsy in the burn ward for?
Cade.
Corky.
Corky. I heard Corky first.
2 years.
God, no. Have you seen this movie? Did you watch
You
it?
said 2 years just 5 minutes ago.
God, no, I did
Cade.
not. We'll have
What'd
to
you say?
watch that crap on the playback. I did not. Cade, go.
That's the only
Okay.
reason I said 2 years.
Go, Cade.
Years.
If you missed this, what'd you say?
I said 5 years.
What? 5 years is right. I was thinking, say, man, if you say like 8 years or some bull crap, I'll be like, come on, dude.
We didn't watch the movie.
What's the total
man.
score? That was it. That was
3
my
to 1.
trivia. What was the 3-1 Corky?
3-1 Cade.
Is it
No,
3
I'd
to
say
1
he
Corky?
won that.
Oh, 3-1 K. I was thinking to say, man, but if it's,
All right,
if
I
it's
do
Corky and
have a
Cade on the
bonus
trivia,
question. Since you guys
Corky
are
and Cade
so
on the
cool.
trivia, my money's going to Cade, man. Corky loses every time.
Yeah, appreciate
I
that.
think he's big.
He's over here
All right,
saying
Cade wins.
We talked about the burn ward being 5 years for like 15 minutes, and he's like 2 years.
All right,
Awesome.
genius. Let's hear trivia, master. Let's see if you get this one.
Let's do it. I'm gonna make
In
fun
the
of myself
movie-
if I get it wrong.
In the movie, now I don't know which chick it is, but one of the chicks is laying in the grass, right? And the
Okay.
camera pans from right to left. Now, as it pans from right to left, on the grass, there is a little, like a pin, like a button you would pin on your shirt. What does that pin say on it?
Oh my
Camp
gosh.
Blackfoot.
No.
I don't know.
Dude, I have no
Okay,
clue.
you got a guess?
No clue.
Okay, the pin was a little small pin about the size of a quarter, and it says, I love New York on it.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes, you do, yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So-
That's a good one.
So,
When I seen that, I was like, I know that dude's going to ask that. So I made a mental
Dude,
note
so
I
let me
of
get
the I
this
love New
straight.
York pin.
So Corky finds the
Get it
small
straight.
pin
Yeah.
in the grass, but the freaking movie in bold letters says 5 years later when this dude's in the hospital.
I could have swore we had a conversation about him being in the burn ward for 2 years. Then the movie just went, and I could have been me.
I want to look back at the first part of this show whenever we're talking about this and discussing this.
Well, guess what?
wanna
I may
know-
go back and edit it to where you say 2 years. How about that?
Yeah, he's the
Okay.
master.
I
That's awesome.
no.
All right, fellas.
What? There should have been a trivia question, and that was oversight on me. What was the name of the camp that Cropsy got burned up at?
Oh, that's a good one. I can
Camp
remember. It's like
Blackfoot.
Camp Shadowbone or something. Yeah.
Camp Blackfoot. Cade said.
Too bad that don't count, Cade. What's up with it?
Camp Shadowbone. What?
Yeah.
kind of
That's
camp
that's
is
where I went
that?
to summer camp at. That's where I went to summer camp at.
Come,
Dude, I don't
come
wanna
stay
go
with
to that
us at Camp
camp.
Shadowbone.
Keep me out of that camp.
Ah,
We're getting toward the end of the movie now, guys.
okay.
In the final act of the movie, the remaining survivors are forced into the direct confrontation with Cropsy, bringing the camp legend full circle. The chaos reaches its peak as the woods become a deadly maze, and the line between hunter and hunted starts to blur. When the truth behind Cropsy's identity and fate is revealed, it adds a surprisingly tragic edge to the carnage, reminding us that the monster was created by cruelty rather than being born evil. The film closes on an unsettling note, reinforcing the idea that some stories never really die, they just wait to be retold around the next campfire. It's a bleak, brutal ending that cements The Burning as one of the most ruthless slashers of all time. Now, I don't know if I agree with that. I think it cements the fact that we totally copied Friday the 13th Part 1. I think that's what it cements the fact is. But what'd you guys think about the ending?
So the ending is where everything happens. Like, nothing really happens in the first and second acts after anything after Cropsy is burnt at the what would be considered the prologue, I guess. Nothing really happened after that until the third act, and that's when all the crap went down. So again, you've got some really good kill scenes. You've got dude being chased around and actually is taken hostage by old Cropsy here, and that dude played in
Cropsy.
Police Academy 4. He was.
Who was this guy?
This is Alfred.
Alfred
Okay.
played in Police Academy 4, which was a much different movie than this. But it was kind of shot to where you're kind of questioning, okay, could Alfred be the killer? Because he's getting picked on by old Glazer, and
he's talking about Glazer yet.
He's such
and he's getting picked on by Glazer, and he's getting picked on by the other, I guess, people in his bunk. Nobody really likes him. He's fixated on Glazer's girlfriend. He's just a weird dude. And so it kind of, whenever he's, watching old Glazer and his girlfriend, go off into the woods and do their thing, he's kind of creeping on them,
Being that peeping Tom, you feel me?
Literally.
So it's kind of like,
so
okay,
weird,
did this guy
dude.
get pushed too far? And they were always talking about dude like not having no confidence and how he just got picked on by everybody. And so you're sitting there going, it could be this guy, or maybe he's kind of helping Cropsy. I don't know. But then it turns out he's not. He actually gets chased across the little island that they're at by Cropsy, taken captive, and he actually gets stabbed with the shears. Had his arm, and then the shears kind of come around there to trap his arm. I thought that was funny. But there's a lot to be said about this dude and how he was acting weird, and even more to be said about Glazer, because with as funny as what George Costanza was in this movie, Glazer, he took the cake, man. He was like the ultimate stereotypical bully. Got what he deserved. He got killed so hard.
He did, man. Lights out, man.
It was funny.
He got his eyes poked out because he didn't see the truth, man.
That is correct, sir. He was talking about how good he was in bed until, he finally, his girlfriend started making fun of him. He was like, how'd you like that? And she was like, I didn't.
He was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, then he started apologizing. I'm sorry. I'll do better next time.
He literally said he promised.
What a loser.
I promise. Dude, he was
I promise. Dumb. I promise I'll do better next time.
Sorry, bud. No next time for you.
Right. Because he gets the shears to the throat and the eyes. I think in the eyes.
I think it took out both of his eyes. Yeah.
I think it dang near got his whole head cut off.
Yeah.
But what about Cropsy here with all of his, it's almost like an ambush thing. So, in Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and, Halloween, you have most of your kills are ambush kills, but there's a formula, there's a build up to them. It's filmed differently. With this one, what did you guys think about Cropsy basically just jumping out from the middle of nowhere? Every time that he killed somebody, he just jumped out from the middle of nowhere and just stabbed them. He did that with old Chick. He did that with Miss Teen USA or whoever. He did the same thing with the kids on the raft when he jumped out of the canoe. He did the same thing with Glazer. You know, what did you think about the differences between the way that Cropsy was killing people and the way that like people like Jason and Michael kills people? Well, what do you think about the differences?
I thought all that stuff, every aspect of the movie seemed kind of rushed to me. It's real evident in my eyes that they were basically trying to build off of what Friday the 13th Part 1 done. And for whatever reason, it worked for Friday the 13th, but it didn't work for The Burning. And, you know, it's probably a combination of a lot of things. You didn't have a good score in the movie. You didn't have a good mask or look of the killer, however you want to put it. And you didn't have... The one good thing they give him was the shears. I think that could have been some kind of iconic, you know, weapon that he was known for.
Yeah.
You know, Jason's known for the machete. Michael's known for the you know, butcher knife or whatever. But for some reason, it just didn't work. And I think it's probably a combination of all that stuff. And with the fact that him just jumping out of nowhere, they didn't give you any lead up. Like with Jason, you would see scenes looking through his eyes and you would see him creeping around. So you would know he's in the area. They let you know through scenes like that he is around. And with this movie, this dude just teleported, I guess, and he was just there, like, you know.
Right.
So it just seems like this movie, there were some people with some money, and they said, hey, let's try to jump on this, because I'm betting you money this movie came out before Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah.
So I'm betting they were like, this movie just blew up the world money-wise, and we're going to capitalize on that. Here's a script. Let's make it. And I think they just threw this movie together real quick. And at the same time, when they threw it together, they knew that a slasher movie's got to have good special effects. And I think they just threw money at Tom Savini and told him, say, hey, you come in, you have your creative freedom, go for it. But it just didn't work out because it wasn't organic enough, you know.
The Burning came out in May of 81, and then Friday the 13th Part 2 is later on that year. I don't know the exact date on Friday. Yeah.
And I bet the whole production of this movie was pushing. We got to release before they released Part 2.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that was the story behind this movie.
I agree with Corky. Like there was not really any suspense. So the kills, they just kind of happened spontaneously. Whereas, like Corky mentioned, we knew Jason was in the area, or, you know, Pamela was in the area because we saw it through her eyes. Same in Halloween. You get the stalking scenes where they're lurking around, and it builds up a little bit of fear for like the characters. Whereas in this movie, there's like 45 minutes to an hour where they're just like doing camp stuff, and you don't even see the killer wandering around, looking at them when they're sleeping or anything. You know, we just see George Costanza like buying condoms and Playboy magazines for those guys.
Yeah, and I can't see George Costanza doing that, man. Come on, take the wig off,
that's what
bro.
I was gonna say.
So the thing that I was gonna say was, and I agree with everything that both of you just said about all of that, but Corky mentioned the score and how it wasn't iconic. And I think that was because in the 80s, especially with your slasher movies, especially with your big three, and your big three being Friday the 13th, Halloween, and later on after this was Nightmare on Elm Street, all three of those big major franchises had very iconic themes and very iconic scores. I mean, you can listen to any one of those scores from any of those three movies, and you know exactly what movie it is. And so this movie's score didn't have a theme, and it didn't really have a very good score at all. But what it did do, it especially at the beginning, I didn't really hear it any after. But at the beginning, right after they released Cropsy from the hospital, and he's walking through the streets of, I guess, New York or whatever, it is playing a very creepy sounding kind of theme. And I wish that they would have kept that throughout the rest of the movie, because I thought that theme was cool. But they either didn't do it or else I didn't catch it. But the theme was lacking, and I think that was another part of the problem with this whole movie.
Yeah. Agree
Dude,
totally,
so
man. I'll have to go back and listen to that because I don't even. It
It
doesn't
was,
stand
I
out
mean,
to
it
what
was a
been
cool,
playing.
it was a cool sounding theme. It was while
Right.
he was walking up the sidewalk right before he met the
Yeah.
prostitute.
I can see the scene in my head, yeah, but I
yeah.
don't recall it.
It was a very cool sounding theme. I liked it.
yeah, so the burning actually came out a week after Friday the 13th Part 2. So they were within a week of each other in
No,
release
really?
dates. Yeah.
Now I would have never guessed that. I would
It
have
says
never guessed that.
I
So
googled
they
it and it
missed
said
their
Friday the
deadline. Is
13th.
what they did.
That's what they did, yeah.
May 1st, 81 was
That's
Friday the
interesting.
13th
I never
Part
would have
2.
thought that.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's why it tanked
Mm.
because like people were only going to see Friday the 13th Part 2 and not The Burning because they're like, we already have
Well,
a
that's
summer
probably a big reason it tanked
Yeah.
because
camp movie.
Yeah.
you got a movie coming out that's basically the same movie, just a different character in it
I
killing
mean,
people.
When you look at when you compare them side by side, Friday the 13th Part 2 is far superior in every way. You know,
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
really no comparison to it. There's really not.
they tried something, it didn't work. That's you know.
No. Well,
You want to know what's crazy?
shoot, guys, I guess that wraps this up, man. What, buddy?
Yeah, the Burning has a higher Rotten Tomatoes score by 40% than Friday the 13th Part 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Man,
actually
that's
destroys
over.
my confidence in Rotten Tomatoes.
That
It's
just
almost
lets me know I don't
50%.
need to listen to Rotten Tomatoes then.
It's actually
Well, you know what? I think a lot of
bit.
people discovered this movie later on in life, though. I think it's got a cult following. It definitely does, but I don't know. I don't see it. A lot of other people may like it. I don't see it. So
I mean,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. It was a watch. It was an interesting enough hour and a half of my time.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing that I'm ever gonna watch again.
Right.
You know, it just kind of, I knew what it was going to be from the get go. I knew that it was a Friday the 13th ripoff. I knew what.
But did you know it was that bad of a ripoff, though? You know,
it was a pretty bad ripoff. Now, one guy, I told this guy at work about it today, and after I explained the plot to him, he said, "Well, that kind of sounds like Nightmare on Elm Street." And at first I was like, "What?"
I never thought about that. Yeah.
And then I was like, "Well, you know, they did burn that dude to a crisp, burn him alive, and he did come back years later for revenge on the next generation."
It makes you think if Nightmare on Elm Street copied it a little bit, you know?
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily think that they copied it, but yeah, I mean, you can definitely draw parallels. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. I don't think Wes Craven was looking at The Burning for inspiration. You know?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that he was going off the Burning's coattails by any means.
Right. Lord have mercy.
Holy
All right,
crap,
guys,
yeah.
are you guys ready to
rank it?
put a rating on this thing?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Daniel, just go first for us, bud.
All right, I'll go first. I got my rankings right here. This didn't get big scores from me. You know, we've touched on the cultural significance of it. This didn't do much to continue to push the genre. It didn't bring anything new to the table at all whatsoever. There wasn't much to be had for any kind of symbolic discussion. The music wasn't there. Special effects were on par for what Tom Savini had to work with, so I give it big scores there. And my overall enjoyment was just kind of meh. So I've got a total score of 5 for this movie.
All right, I'll give it a 5. That sounds pretty good. Cade, what do you got, man?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit higher than Daniel here with my score. I'm actually at a 6 out of 10. I actually would see myself like watching this again if it was on. I wouldn't really seek it out. I'd probably go towards some of our other more iconic slashers, your Jason Voorhees, your Michael Myers, and whatnot. I think if they would have maybe made our counselors a little bit better, some of those scenes, add in some suspense with maybe some stalking from the slasher in this movie, I think the movie could have went up some because we would have felt him being maybe more threatening. Of course, he did murder a bunch of people at once, but I would have enjoyed that a lot more. So I'm at a 6 out of 10
Right.
for this film.
Well, I mean, a 6 is, you know, 6
Yeah, it's
is
just
not
slightly.
that bad.
5 is average for me.
Right, 6
so
ain't
6,
that bad. I'll
6
tell you
It's a-
what.
It's a little bit above.
Let me talk about this movie for a minute. You got anything else you want to add, Kate?
Oh, I'm good, brother.
I'm going to give this movie a 4 because I really think it was a ripoff of the Friday the 13th franchise. I think whoever made this movie was basically trying to jump on the bandwagon and get a movie out there real quick. I don't know why this movie had a lot of the formula to work, but it didn't work. A lot of things that I think were wrong was the score, like I said earlier. I don't think it had a good gimmick as far as the killer in the movie. He didn't have a unique look. I think they may have tried to go with something, but he didn't have a unique look. I'll give it to him, like I said, with the shears. That was a different type of weapon. And another thing I think went wrong with this movie is a lot of it was shot during the daylight.
Yeah.
And
there wasn't a whole lot of night scenes at all.
Yeah, and you know that for some reason, now I ain't saying a daylight shot can't work at all. I'm not saying that. But you know, your nighttime scenes, they kind of set the tone for a movie and stuff like that. So I think the way it was shot had a lot to do with it. You know, there was a lot that was just thrown into this movie that didn't work, and sometimes that's just how it happens. But they did do right with the special effects, Tom. And that's the only reason it gets a 4 from me. I would have gave it lower, but the special effects pulls the score up. But yeah, I'll give it a 4. Daniel, what'd you say you gave it a 5? Cave gave it a 6.
So it averages to a 5.
So that'll average to a 5. And that's pretty good for a movie called The Burning that, you know, that was you know, we tried to find a gem out there. I don't think we discovered it this time. But I'll say this, guys. This movie is certified werewolf nipple. What do you guys think?
I think this movie is a front runner for werewolf nipple.
Werewolf
I think
nipple certified.
I think that it has strong competition from Alligator. But this movie is definitely a contender for the Werewolf Nipple Award.
It's up there. It definitely got the butt meter score up pretty high in this movie.
It did.
We didn't ask you about the butt meter score.
Yeah,
What'd you give
you're
it?
the butt king, and you're the butt man, the butt king. And we saw not only George Costanza's butt, but we saw like 4 dudes' butts.
Yeah, we didn't need that.
Yeah.
We didn't need no dude butts, okay? They should have cut that from the movie.
This movie was an equal opportunity movie. It showed just as much dude butt as what it did chick butt. You know, what'd you think about that, Cade? How'd that make you feel?
That's why my score was the highest. My overall enjoyment score was pretty high. It was reflected in my rating.
Cade's butt meter went off. We actually only saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we actually only saw Miss Ohio's butt for the girls.
Yeah.
And we saw 3 dudes' butts. George Costanza being one of them.
Yeah, they kind of had their ratio of butts off, so I'll have to drop it down for that problem right there.
Now,
but the movie is certified werewolf nipple worthy.
It is certified werewolf nipple. Certified werewolf nipple.
Right. Well, guys, we got anything else we want to add before we cut out of here this week?
I believe I have left everything that I was wanting to say on the table.
It's gone.
All right. We appreciate everybody listening to us. Tune in next week. Catch you next week. See you. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Yo, we rolling deep, let's dive into the fray. Hit that play button, we review every bite. From horror flicks that give you chills at night to games that thrill, yeah, we get it right. Remember that, step back, hold tight. We'll dissect every scare, keep the vibe right. Remember that, we're here to expose the thrills, the chills where the dark wind blows. From pixels on screens to the sound that glows. Join us forever, that's how the story goes.